What is up, yappies and yappettes? I'm a professional R6 player, and today we are going to be talking about the 10 best beginner tips in Rainbow Six Siege. So if you're a noob and you suck at the game, or you're just coming back to the game, or you just want to learn a couple quick tips and tricks, then you're in the right place, because today we're going to be yapping all day long and talking about the 10 best beginner tips for you. So let's get active. The very first tip I want to talk about is one of the best tips in the entire game for new players, because one of the most important things in this game is understanding maps and having map knowledge. So I'm going to show you how to hop into a custom game so that you can learn the maps so much quicker. So to get into a custom game, a local game by yourself, you go to custom game, you go to create local, and then you can create a playlist. I just have like a rough playlist, but you can use any of the automatic playlists. This playlist just has no prep phase, no bans, nothing like that. So that way you can hop in as a player right away. This is one that I just made by myself, but you can edit all the settings and make the plays yourself. But from the local custom game, you're able to hop in there, and you want to hop on the attack. Now, for this, you do want to have Buck unlocked. So if you don't have Buck, make sure you have Buck, because this is what's going to help you learn the map. So you can add whatever maps you want to this playlist, choose the map that you want and that you want to work on, you want to learn better, and you hop into the custom game. And by picking Buck, what you're able to do is actually open up a bunch of soft walls. So this is one of the easiest ways to learn the map. First things first, you want to learn all the default cameras, where they all are, and take these out first, because default cameras are a ton of information that the other team gets on you as defenders. So you want to make sure you learn where all of these are. Another easy way to learn this is by going onto the defense, looking at your little compass here at the bottom and seeing what room the actual default cameras are in. And then as you walk through the map, you can figure out where these cameras are actually at. As you can see, now I'm in small tower, and you can take them all out. So knowing where all the defaults is good by going on the defense and finding them. But on the attack, if you're picking Buck, what you can do is you can open up all these soft walls. You can see what walls lead to where, which will help you understand which walls are important to reinforce, and where you can hold and where you can open up new lines of sight to make new angles and find new areas. So going into a custom, learning the maps, learning the room names, so dining hall, kitchen, even just general names of the rooms is very, very important. Here we're in security. You can even go as far as opening floors, opening hatches, seeing what floors lead to where, you know. It's pretty straightforward. Like any floor that's made of brick, cement, tile, stuff like this, you can't open through. It's not soft walls like this, right? But any walls that's kind of got this white wood, I don't even know what this is drywall clearly, drywall or wood walls or wood floors, you can open up. So it's pretty straightforward as to, you'll see what, like anything with these like lines on it, you know it's a soft wall. So opening up floors like this with the wood, you can see what's underneath. Still, we have security, which we were just in, and you can figure out the map layouts a lot easier by doing this. So, oh, this goes to attic. Oh, and this creates a loop that goes back in here. This might be a good spot for a rotate, because now we can loop through the bomb site, right? So understanding where you should make these rotates and where you should make these lines of sight is going to be very, very important. So learning the maps by doing it as Buck is going to be a great way to learn the maps quicker. Now, what you can also do is you can kind of like find spots to jump off of. As an attacker, you can rappel to the roof a lot. This will reset the round, so you can go back in with more ammo and do it again. So that's tip number one, is learn the maps. You want to make sure you know the maps. There's tons of angles, tons of things to explore. So you could spend so much time in these customs games just to get really, really proficient in the maps, because during an actual game, you're not going to have the time to explore and learn, and you're not going to learn as quickly in an actual match as you would in this custom game. Now, tip number two, we're going to have to leave the custom game and head over to the shooting range, because this is a quick and easy aim routine for if you're new to PC or you're new to Siege. There is a bit of recoil, so this aim routine is going to help quite a bit. So to go to the aim routine, you go to your training, you go to your shooting range, and there's a couple key features of this that's going to help us get way better aim way quicker. And if you have the time to do this, it only takes 5 minutes to do. You do it every day, fantastic. Do it once a week, fantastic. Do it as much as you can, really, before you play a ranked session. Maybe it's just every time before you play. So what you're going to do is pick any defender that you want to, any defender or attacker you want to get better at. I prefer to use the SMG-12, or sorry, the SMG-11, just because it has a lot of recoil, doesn't have a lot of bullets, and you have to be pretty precise with it. This is a gun that, it's one of the toughest guns to master in the game, I would say. So using it makes you way better with these high recoils, and then you're able to go and be better with the easier guns after that. So you can use this dummy, just kind of warm up, get a little bit of recoil control going. I usually just put a few mags into this guy, but if your recoil is like really bad, like let's say you're like shooting like this every time, then you might want to spend a little more time just practicing. Maybe you're just practicing that tap fire, etc. But here's where you're really going to get the juice of your aim down. So what I recommend is 5 1-minute routines. So 1 minute each. The first one, you're going to use big balls, max targets every time. It's going to be idle big balls at close range. So this is going to be your first setup here. And what's this going to do? It's going to get those flicks acquired. So you're going to get your flicks down, whether you're on controller or PC. I find this works great for both. After this, you're going to go to dummies at close range. So you're going to do the same thing with dummies. And then you're going to move to small balls at a walking pace at far range. So now you're going to work on your precision for a minute. So you do these small balls at the far range, and you're working on those precise flicks. After that, you're going to do the dummies with the same thing. So big balls, close range, not moving. Dummies, close range, not moving. Small balls, far range, walking speed. Dummies, far range, walking speed. I think I said that right. And then lastly, you're going to just switch this over to random for both. And then you'll have dummies kind of running around randomly at close and far range. So initially, you're working on that flicks at close range. Then you're working on how precise you are. And then you're kind of mixing them both together on that final minute. And I find this has helped my aim quite a bit. Like, especially if I'm feeling like my aim is really bad, I'll do this quite a bit and it'll get good. I haven't played the game in a while now, so my aim here sucks right now. But it's a great aim routine. It's great to do, and it'll help your game out a lot. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is all about utility. Now, utility is the most important thing in Rainbow Six Siege. It's going to let you get kills way easier. You can have good aim, but if you're getting fully blinded, you're not going to be able to fight back. So the key to beating better players is having good utility usage. So once you've learned the operators and you understand whatever your operator does, you understand how your operator works, you always want to be thinking about the utility that you have with it. Do you have flashbangs? Do you have a hard breach charge? Do you have a breach charge? Do you have something you can destroy their utility with? Removing their utility and using yours to attack onto them or fight back against them is very important. So let's say you're using like Ace and you have 1 Ace charge left. You've already opened up that hard breach wall that you needed to. If you're going in for that push, if you're trying to push in onto the defenders, maybe throwing your last Ace charge down is going to be very effective because it's going to cover some sound. So even if you're throwing it at a floor or you're throwing it at a wall or you're throwing it onto a shield, you can break shields with it even. There's a lot to learn about utility, especially with each individual operator, but it's always going to be better to use your utility on a push. It's just going to add extra layers to your attack or your defense, and it's going to make it even better. So here's that example of that. So let's say I want to fight this guy on Red Hall. Maybe I've killed the guy garage already because he's overpeaked. So I'm going to throw this down. It's going to be kind of loud. It's going to cover some noise, and then I'm going to push in so he doesn't hear my footsteps. That's going to allow me to get all the way deep, maybe. I'm fighting the guys in sight, and they can't hear me because of that just small extra layer of utility. So it's just stacking the advantage in your favor by using that utility. The next tip you're going to want to know about is adding pressure. Adding pressure is one of the most underutilized and underrated things in the entire game. There's even people in the highest rank of the game that don't use this effectively, but the sooner you learn it, the better you're going to become and the faster you're going to get better. So to add pressure, let's say you're sitting on this window and the bomb site is Gem. Well, what do you know? The bomb site actually is Gem. If you're just sitting here holding this angle and they know you're outside this window, they know that there's some pressure on this window. This is 1 point of pressure that you've now applied. However, if they are in the site, let's say you're in a 1v5 situation and you're sitting on this window, there's no pressure anywhere else. So all 5 defenders are going to be swarming this window, watching this window because it's the only point of pressure that you have on the defense. However, if you have multiple windows open, and you have the breach open over here, and you have the logistics hatch open, and let's say you have a guy coming through CCTV. You're putting all these different points of pressure, and they're not sure which one you're actually going to attack from. They now have to be wary of all these different pressure points. They have to be wary of you hopping in this window. They have to be wary of you jumping in any of the 3 windows, or coming through the breach, or coming through the hatch. So it just spreads the resources much more thin, and allows you to actually open up opportunities for yourself to make plays that can win you the round. So now that they know that I have all these different points of pressure that they have to watch and they don't know which one I'm at, let's say they don't have the information to know where I'm going to come from, I can then make the play of hopping in one of these points, getting a pick, and then working from there to take the bomb site and get a plant down or kill the other remaining defenders or whatever it may be. So adding pressure by opening doorways, opening walls, opening hatches, opening floors, opening whatever you can, and adding pressure to the defense is going to be very, very important from an attacker's perspective. Wow. The next tip for attacking is going to be about doing direct takes. So doing direct takes as a beginner is a super effective strategy to win attacks. Attacking is much harder than defense in this game. You have to take more control. You have to actually do the pushing, right? Defense, they're just camping out. They're just sitting there waiting for you to walk into their angle, their shotgun, whatever, and to kill them. But on attack, you actually have to take that space, get that info, and get that control. So doing direct takes is going to be very, very strong. And what a direct take is essentially you're attacking directly onto the bomb site where you're not able to get flanked. And by doing these direct takes, firstly, you're not able to get flanked, which is fantastic because you're not going to be shot in the back while you're trying to take the bomb site. So if you have an area like dirt tunnel here, let's say the site is in the basement here. So by pushing through dirt tunnel, the defenders actually can't flank me. They have to run all the way outside to flank me, which would be insane. It would be insane of them to run all the way outside. It happens very rarely, but this way I'm able to clear angles one at a time. I'm able to get more and more info as I push up through the tunnel here. So I can clear this, and then I can come back with my drone, get a little more info, move a little closer, and I'm closer, and I'm inching closer and closer to the bomb site with this information. Now, Ash isn't a great example because she doesn't have flashbangs or any utility that allows you to take that space. But if you have someone with flashbangs, like let's say there's a player playing here, I'm able to simply flashbang that guy by banking it off the wall and then taking the gunfight onto him while he's blind. So flash and push is a very effective strategy, especially in these direct takes, or I can use other utility depending on what operator I'm playing. So having the utility actually push these players is very strong when you're doing these direct takes. But now that I'm close to the bomb site, again, the same thing. I can use my utility to push into the site, or I can use my drone to find a guy on site that isn't paying attention. Maybe he's standing up here in his pulse and he's scanning the kitchen looking for my teammates. I can push in and kill him, and now I have the bomb site. And once you have the bomb site, you can plant the bomb. So I can get the bomb down and play this post plant, and post plants are very, very strong, which is another tip that we'll talk about in a bit. But pushing direct onto the site, it ensures you're not getting flanked. It allows you to take the time to get the info without getting shot in the back, and it's just much less risky than wandering through the building randomly, hoping that you find someone and that they don't find you first. So it allows you to really set the pace of the round and take control of the attack while just providing so much area and pressure, and it's just so good. It's just such a strong way to attack, especially from a beginner standpoint, because people aren't set up as well, the site setups aren't as efficient, and you can actually take the site fairly easily in these lower ranks. The biggest thing about this is just to make sure that you're getting rid of the traps and the info ahead of time. So if you see that there's like some Capcan traps, maybe there's like an Elemine, some barbed wire, etc., using a Flores, using grenades, using explosives to break these things ahead of time is going to be a good way to push in there without getting completely destroyed by the trap utility, because traps are also very strong in these beginner lobbies. Now we've swapped over to the defense here, and we're going to talk about playing off your utility. Your utility is very, very important to have information and understand what's going on without having to get on those cameras. So keeping your gun up sometimes is very, very important. Like a lot of the time you want to keep your gun up when you are alive, but sometimes checking the defaults like early in the round is very strong. However, if you have, let's say we have some barbed wire on blue stairs and maybe even like an Elemine, this is a horrible Elemine. Let's put the Elemine like down here on the platform. And then we'll put some for the window hop in and maybe on the main stairs as well. So the biggest thing about this is you don't want to play past your utility. So if my Elemine is here, I don't want to be pushed up in front of it contesting the main door, because if I'm playing up here, then what's going to happen is now my utility is not providing any information for me because I'm going to die before the attackers hit my utility. If I'm playing here, they can now come up these stairs, they can come through bar, they can come through bar hallway, they can come through here, they can even come through library and shoot me in the top of the head because I don't have info for these areas. So if I don't have info for them, I shouldn't play the areas where I don't have info. However, the second I come up this staircase and I start playing up here, now I have info on all the directions they can push me from. The staircase, the window hop in, and the blue stairway. Now they could hop in this window, but you'll hear the window break, and that's another thing. I could even put another Elemine from the blue one on that window or something. So now the only thing I have to really worry about is these two library windows. So having the information is really, really strong, but only when you play to the fact that you have the information. Now, they could also come all the way through site, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully I have a teammate on site who's aware of that, but it is a possibility that you have to be slightly concerned on. It depends what your team's looking like. But now I can, we can even reinforce this wall so we have some cover so we're not getting wall banged. And now all of a sudden I have a really, really strong setup where I have information on everything as long as I'm not extending past that utility, right? So again, same thing over here. If I've hopped over and I'm playing past where my utility is, now they can come from all these different areas and kill me before I have the information on them. So you want to play off your information, and your traps and your barbed wire and your sound, that is information. So don't push past your utility. Tip number 7 is a tip that works on both defense and attack, and that's to keep information stale. You never want the other team to know where you are, especially on the defense. So if I'm pushed up in the library, because I don't have any utility in here, I'm not extending past my utility, right? So I can push up in the library and I can hide in this corner. If they don't drone me out, they're gonna walk past me and I can shoot them, right? However, if they know I'm here, let's say I'm moving around, which creates sound, or I've shot my gun a couple times, they're gonna know that I'm in this room. If they know I'm in this room, I need to move somewhere else so they no longer know where I am. So once I give away my position, I need to pick a new spot to go and play, so now they have to re-drone me. This makes them guess. They makes them constantly concerned of you could be anywhere at any time, and they never know where to check. So let's say I'm up here and I'm waiting for a drone to come in the window. They're on this window and they jump a drone through, I can shoot it. Now, if my hatch is open, I can drop down and leave. Running back is a little riskier because I am exposing myself to the window. However, you might have the time to shoot the drone and get back in this corner. Now they don't know where I'm at once again, and what they could do is hop in this window, pre-firing this corner because that's the last place they saw them in, where it was when I swing and take them out. And the second I get that kill, I need to pick a new spot because now they know I'm there because I just killed their teammate there. So constantly moving and keeping the information stale is very, very important. And that's even in the case, like, let's say they're coming up main stairs and they're also coming to the window, and I kill the guy main stairs, and now the window guy hops in. Maybe I just back up and go prone, so I'm picking a new off angle, you know, constantly keeping the callouts irrelevant. So even if they call me out, which is a good thing to practice for, it's good to practice against good players who will call you out when they die, then you're in a new spot where it doesn't matter. Or even the fact that I've shot my gun here, now maybe I take a loop around and come and I hold another angle over here, and they're expecting me to be top fireplace, but now I'm peeking from another door. So switching it up is very, very important, no matter what side you're on. So if we take this from the attacker's perspective, if the attacker gets a kill on this doorway from someone peeking, maybe there's another guy that's going to swing out of here and contest me. So at that point, I could switch to another window and hold this angle instead. So let's say this window was already open because we've added those multiple different ways of pressure, right? Those multiple pressure points. So after I get that first kill, this guy's going to come swinging out on that double window, and then maybe I get a second kill. Now I can take control of the room, push up, hold a new angle that they might not be ready for, and the information is stale yet again from the attacker's perspective. One of the biggest components about Rainbow Six is information. It is literally everything. Drones, traps, all the different sounds and cues that give you information on what's going on. One of the biggest sources of information comes from your teammates, and that's callouts. That's calling out where people are, right? As you can see right now, above my compass, I'm in office. That's the callout for this room. I'm in office. You know, there's some more specific callouts like default, like this would be a default plant, and those you'll learn over time as you play the game. However, there are a lot of complex callouts. You're not going to know all the callouts, and the best tip I can give you for callouts is if you don't know, just don't call. Bad calls are worse than no calls at all. Bad callouts trick your own team into thinking something that's not actually accurate. If you die to a guy in bathroom, but you don't know this is called bathroom, and you just see the word master and you call out, oh, one's in master, but this room's actually master, what's going to happen is your teammate who was maybe already watching bathroom is now going to switch to watch master and then get shot in the back from the guy bathroom. So bad callouts can actively kill your teammates, and you want to make sure your callouts are accurate and that they're right. Even if they're just general callouts, even if it's just like you see the compass on the bottom, you say, oh, there's one north side. Maybe you died on the north side of the map. One's north side, upstairs on the north side. That at least gives them an idea like, oh, they could be over here, they could be over there, but I know he's on this half of the map. You're cutting out half of the map that guy could potentially be in, and you're still giving more information than maybe your team had before. So having a general call out, or even like, I got shot through the floor, he's underneath, something like that. He's underneath the hatch. That way your teammates aren't walking around aimlessly and like getting shot from the guy that just killed you. So call outs are really, really good. Just make sure they're accurate. And if you don't know, just don't say anything. I mean, even saying I don't know is not a bad call out sometimes. Like, especially if your teammates are like, where are you? Where is he? And they're freaking out. You're just like, I don't know. That way, at least they know to be careful and to be cautious. Or even just saying like, be careful of bathroom, right? If you are spectating your team and you see that everybody is watching this room and nobody's watching this room, you can say, hey, Ella, be careful of bathroom. I don't have any information on that. I don't have the camera on it anymore. And then he'll switch, and then maybe a guy walks through, and then he gets the kill, and you've saved the day, you've saved the round, and callouts are so crucial and so key. However, they do have to be accurate. Tip number 9 is all about planting the bomb. And I told you we'd get back to this point at some point, and here it is. Post-planting is super effective, and planting the bomb is one of the strongest things you can do as an attacker. And the reason for that is by planting the bomb, you're switching the time. You're essentially switching the roles of the different sides. You're switching it from an attack to a defense. Once you plant the bomb, you're now on defense. You're now defending that diffuser, and the defenders need to switch into attackers and start attacking back in order to defuse the diffuser, because the time has switched from being against the attackers to being in favor of the attackers, which is why you have to get aggressive as defenders once that plant goes down. However, this is also why direct takes are so good, because you can get those plants down. So let's say, for example, you're Ying, you're on Oregon here, you're on Big Window, you're going to throw some smokes, you're going to throw some Yings, everyone's blind, you're going to throw a couple more, and then what are you going to do? You're going to hop in, you're going to plant the bomb on the window. This is a really good plant spot because the defenders aren't going to be able to reach the diffuser. So this is just an insane example of how strong this is. You can go up to the roof, and now essentially you could win essentially a 1v5 from this position, because what they're going to do is they have to peek this ridiculous angle where you have a massive advantage, and you're just going to fry everyone off this angle with this LMG. Now, they also can't long arm the diffuser, so there's nowhere they can sit safely to protect themselves from this angle that you have on them. So nobody is going to be able to defuse the diffuser. That's actually accurate. And you're going to essentially win that round in a 1v5. You're going to get 5 kills, you're going to plant the bomb, and you're going to win the round. It's a fantastic way to get not only get kills, but win rounds. So let's think about this for a second. Where do you want to plant? The first step to having a good post plant where it's essentially unwinnable for the defenders is having a good spot to plant. This is another great plant spot because you're able to sit outside, hold this angle very passively, and swing onto them as they're diffusing. When you hear the sound of diffuse, you know, if they have to jump out the window, you're going to get those kills. You have a massive advantage. You have an LMG, and if you have any utility left over, like an extra Ying, an extra flashbang, whatever, you can even use that against them as well. So this is another great plant spot. But bad plant spots can be really bad, because what can happen is if they kill you and you die, or you're in a position where you can't cover the diffuser, they're able to defuse it. So like right here, a defender could easily sit and defuse this bomb because you can't cover from the big window. So if you're going to plant in a spot like this, you have to play pretty aggressive off of it. You have to stay in here and fight aggressively onto the retaking defenders. Now, they still have to push you, so you don't have to push any deeper, but you want to make sure you're still able to change up your angles and fight back where you can. You can even take a prone hiding spot here, something like that. But if you're post planting this from outside the window and they start diffusing, you're going to lose a round, because once they start diffusing, you're then going to have to vault in, run over here and shoot them. And if they hear that vault, they're going to get off and they're going to pre-fire you, or they're going to have another guy just holding the window hopping while one diffuses, and then you're going to die trying to retake that diffuser. So picking a good plant spot is how you set up essentially a free round win, but you want to make sure you're picking a good spot that you have an idea beforehand of where you're going to play it from. So this is another reason why learning the maps is so important, so that way you can know where to plant and why you're going to plant there and where you're going to play it from afterwards. Here's another great example. If we're going to plant on this side, we could plant the bomb literally right here. Now there's not a lot of cover while you're planting, so if in this case you want to plant in a smoke grenade, or you want something covering you, or the last guy's downstairs or something like that, if there is the last guy downstairs, let's say a Solus or a Pulse, you want to make sure you're planting on the hard floor, not the soft floor, because he will shoot you through the floor and kill you. Or you can plant in a spot like this where you have the breach open, and you know, you plant here or here, somewhere in line with the breach, where if that wall is open, then you're actually able to go back here and play it from far back. And if they try to defuse, you're going to have this long angle on them. Long angles typically always favor the attackers because you have the longer range guns. The defenders have shotguns and SMGs, whereas the attackers have those long distance ARs and LMGs. So if we're planting in a spot like this, let's say this whole wall is thermited, then we can play it really safely from outside, right? There's no flank opportunity. We're holding essentially one doorway that they have to get aggressive on, and if they don't and they finally go for that defuse, you can peek in and shoot them. An even safer option is to sit here on a drone. Sit here on a drone and see if they're actually pushing you. And then if you see one guy coming through master, you can get off, pre-fire them. You know, you can even go further back hide a little more passively, and then when they're diffusing, you hop up and kill that guy that's diffusing. So planting is very, very strong, especially SoloQ, because you can just take so much control and so much power. So direct takes plus plant equals free wins so much on the attack, which is, again, the harder side to play. However, you're not going to get those plants down all the time. Planting it's a pretty rare situation. You might only plant like 10% of the time, 5% of the time. It's a lot easier when you have teammates who are helping you plant too. Most of the time, there's going to be a lot of kills before you get to the point where there's a plant. And playing the numbers properly is going to be one of the most important things. This is the last tip of the video. It's playing numbers properly. So, in general, if you have a man advantage, you want to play fairly passively. You want to preserve your life. You want to keep the man advantage. You want to keep the numbers. So if you have a 3v2, you don't need to play overly aggressive. You just have to figure out what you need to do. If you're on the attack, it's like, what do I need to do to actually get the bomb down? But if you're on the defense in that 2v3, then you're going to think, we need to get a kill back, because what's going to happen is you're going to have 3 guys pushing onto you, and if they're playing together and they're playing smart, then they're going to trade out. So like if you have 2, you're going to have a 2-on-1 and a 1-on-1, and if your guy doesn't win that 1-on-1, you're going to be in a 1v2 or a 1v3, and it's going to be way harder to win. So playing aggressively when you have a man disadvantage, you've got to think, I got to get aggressive, I got to get a kill back. So playing a little more aggressive, you don't have to go extremely aggressive because it's only 1 kill and they could mess up and you could get that kill very easily. But if it's, let's say, a 2v5, now you got to really ramp up the aggression because you really got to get a kill before they start collapsing on the site and destroying you. So bringing the kills back when it's important and playing aggressive when you need to is important. However, if you're in that 5v2 on defense, you can play very, very passively because you don't want to give them kills for free. You want to keep that man advantage yet again. So understanding the numbers, understanding when to play the numbers properly is another key factor to success. I hope these tips help. I hope you guys learned something. I do have a beginner operator video if you guys want to check that out. I'll link it in the description. Or you could just go watch my Think Like a Champion series where you kind of get more insights and thoughts into my head and why I do things the way I do. And overall, good luck in your Rainbow Six journey. It's a fantastic game. I hope you have fun. And thanks for watching. Peace out, boys.